Nobody knows Deion Sanders better than Michael Irvin.
That's my boy.
Who is about to give you some deep insight into the new Colorado coach. In fact, Michael visited Deion in Boulder the other day and spoke to the team. Did he? He spoke and spoke. I got to know Deion when I covered his Cowboy teams. He is a very rare and special human who is the greatest cornerback ever by far. I'm sorry, Richard.
That's okay.
The distance between Deion and the second best corner ever, Richard's right there in that conversation, is farther than the distance between the top two players at any other position in NFL history. Saturday at noon on Fox, Deion's Colorado Buffaloes open at TCU. I can't wait for that, and I can't wait for this. Michael Irvin, how quickly will Deion turn Colorado into a national contender?
You know, it's so funny, and I spoke this is prophetically speaking. I spoke it. Remember when he first had the job, people were asking me about it, right? They would say, Michael, what is Deion going to do? I said, listen, man, it's so cold in Colorado. Deion, I never see. I said, dude, whatever you talk about with weather, let me tell you, this dude, everywhere he's gone, he's made it better before he left there. However he got in there, he's made it better. No doubt about it, no question about it. I said to people, I said, listen, Deion's going to take this place and he's going to make it heaven. I went and visited that heaven. Dude, it is the most beautiful thing. I said it before I went there. When I went there, I was like, oh my God, what? I never, it really is. To see those mountains right in back of that school, incredible. He's driving around on that golf cart. It's like, he's like the Pope on that golf cart. Coach, every student on that lot is talking. You talk to those players, I've never seen no play. They're so hyped. They believe. We talk about what it takes to win together. They believe. And Coach Prime told me this. He said, Mike, he said, this game is different. He says, I run it like this, you know, and it's so funny. He says, I take these many out the porter. I take these men, I pick these many guys from high school, and I make sure I go get a certain kind of walk-on. And he took me, we were on the field practice, and he showed me this one walk-on, dude 57. This dude was running all over the field, acting like, I was like, boy, he strategically put this thing together. He's not just picking, he strategically put it together. I'm telling you right now, give him 2 years, he's in contention. Because he'll come up with 5 or 6 wins this year. They only won 1. And he's going to take them 6 wins. He's going to go back into them homes and back to those places where, boy, and start talking to those people. He said to me, he said, Mike, I go to recruit some of these kids, man. I walk in. I've seen parents go in the room and come back out with their bandana. He said, man, I used to wear bandana, the same bandana like you. He said, I know I got that kid. You know what I mean? He has a plan, and he's strategically putting it together. Give him 2 years, and you will see. I tweeted, I said he's about to unveil his greatest masterpiece, and I guarantee you he will.
And he is doing it his way.
His way, and you got to give him that, Skip.
Different way.
We talked about that, Sherman, on the ride here to work. He didn't go, he's the greatest cornerback ever. He didn't go sit at some cornerback coach for 10, 15 years waiting to get this opportunity. He went his way. But it's what he does. He's done this when we were playing. He used to go and get kids that are from less fortunate situations, move them into his house, put them in better schools, and give them opportunity.
That's not going to be a problem, as Deion told me. He said the key thing is, first, number one, I got to recruit the mama. And what he means by that is, if I'm telling the mother your kid gonna be okay, you can trust me.
The trust. That's what he said.
That's the number one thing.
That's one thing.
Now, in terms of his staff, great staff, put a nice staff together. He's got some challenges in terms of players because he's got to figure it out. But he will. He's figured out everything, whether it was the Atlanta Braves, the Atlanta Falcons, the 49ers, everything, right?
New York
the Cowboys,
Yankees.
whatever, the Yankees. He figured it out. He's a winner in life, right? He understands the goals at hand. Now, in terms of the Colorado program as a whole, when you talk about national contender, I don't see them being national contenders for at least 3 to 4 years. But in that time of 3 to 4 years, Deion may not be there because they're going to come a-calling. And I know Prime says, well, I want to finish the task in Colorado. But there's going to be a smart general manager.
Oh,
there's
you're talking about the next level.
There's going to be a smart president, a smart general manager that says, we ain't winning doing it the good old boy way in the National Football League.
Right.
Keep recycling, Michael, as you know.
Right.
Microwaving these same coaches,
Does he want to do this? Does he want to
may not want to today. May not want to today. But you know, tomorrow when these conversations take place, it's not even the money. It's the conversation with the right owner saying, I'm going to give you full autonomy to do certain things. And that conversation may change.
Right,
so that's the only thing I can see.
One thing, though, Key, though, now you can't, you're taking away his greatest asset, I believe, right now that you just spoke about, which is recruiting. Once he comes to the league, it's about drafting, and it's not about.
But but think about it though, Mike. It's also about challenges.
Right.
And you know, Prime like challenges.
Right.
That challenge is to take Colorado, Richard, from 1 win to 5, from 5 to 8, 8 to 10. Now, all of a sudden, there's an opportunity in Atlanta, for instance. Just saying. I don't know that. But just think about that for a minute. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
The state missed out on the opportunity. They should have got.
Oh my God, that would have been.
Before he got to Colorado.
But I talked to Prime when we were in France, and this is when the kids were still in high school. His sons were still in high school, and he was like, "Hey, once I'm, come on now, just a little bit." That was the first time Prime had ever been out the country. He didn't even know where his passport was.
Why were you in France?
The league had us at the Cannes Film Festival, marketing festival, back in the day. But. Sorry. It's a story for a different day. But it's only relevant because Prime was like, hey, I'm going to travel more once I don't have to coach my sons in high school. He was like, I don't want anybody else to coach them. I want to coach them all the way through. Then he said, you know what? I'm going to go to Jackson State and I'm going to coach my sons. And I'm going to coach my sons. Yeah. And then he says, you know what? I'm going to give my sons an opportunity to play Division I, big-time Division I, Power 5 football. I'm going to go coach my sons at Colorado. And he's doing that. I mean, 40-6, Shedeur was out there cooking. If he goes and does that again, I mean, we're going to be talking about him in the first round. Yep. But took Shiloh with him to Colorado. He took Cormani McLean, got a 5-star to Colorado, their first 5-star in many years.
Well, Travis
Hunter playing both ways.
Travis Hunter is the dude.
Go top 5, top 10.
I love that young dude. That's a bad man.
Yeah. So he's bringing big-time players. But I think, to your point, Key, if his sons graduate and they're out and he's not coaching them anymore, then the challenge of the National Football League and the right opportunity, I think,
but pull him out. The question is how long it's going to take to
2
turn
years.
around.
Exactly. I say 3 to 4, man.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why, too. And I say it too. Let me tell you why, too. The division changing. Remember, they're restructuring all these. They're
going to the Big 12,
There's
right?
a lot of people right now. Trust me, Deion right now, and Deion said it. He said right now, he said, Michael, I can play in the skill position. I'm worried. All I'm worried about are the big boys.
Yeah.
I need a few years to get me some big boys in here, big boys. But outside, I can play with them. They got 3 returning starters from last year's team. 3 returns, fewest in their field. Nobody else. He's brought in his players. He's brought in his guys. He's going to play his guys. And on the outside, they will compete now.
But the national contender part of it, we're talking about, when you say national contender, we're talking about being in that top 8 in the country.
Right.
Fighting out the top 8. That's hard as hell to do.
Some things, but you got to remember, okay, when they're going to
Big 12.
But I'm not just division. We're also changing the playoff structure pretty soon, right?
Well,
We're going to 12.
Yeah.
So if Deion in the next 2 years can get anywhere near that, it's holy moly.
Oh, it's over with.
Holy moly.
But this year, all he needs to do, they got 5 ranked games, 5 ranked games against ranked teams. He's still one of them.
Right.
Oh, he's going
to be able to
flip it upside down.
He's going to be able to recruit.
If they win this first one against TCU,
that's going to be a good game.
Oh, my goodness.
I sure want to be there. I want to be there.
Skip, going to the Big 12, as you know, that part of the country, Deion, Texas roots alone, going to be able to steal a whole lot of the big beef out of Texas. There's no question about it.
Hey,
I just think the NFL is going to be a calling call for him.
You are correct about that, I believe. But I used to say about Tom Brady, there's one guy in sports I don't bet against, and it's Brady when it's time. There's one guy in life I don't bet against, and it's Deion Sanders when it's time.
Well, I'm betting against him in October when SC play, though.
One last question. He's brilliantly done something no other coaches have done, which use this social media. We just talked about how the young guys work with social media. He's brilliant. Is that going to stop a coach a pro team from pulling him in. Because why a pro team may not.
Again, playmaker. Again, what I said, it's got to be an owner who does not want to do the good old boy network anymore and realize that's a special guy right there, and he's going to get my program to where I want to.
Last quick point. Usually great players don't even want a coach to start with, let alone become a great coach, because it's just too hard. It's too hard to relate, because you just look at basketball. Magic would look at it and say, why can't you do what I do? Well, they can't, because they're not you, right? Larry Bird was a very good coach, but Prime, it shocked me that he even took this path in his life.
I'll tell you why. Because he feels this is his calling. It's not about his great athletic ability. It's about his calling to you.
It's spiritual,
And that's what he always says.
I got it. All right. Speaking of up and coming,
that's my
this
man.
guy. Is Jalen Hurts the second best quarterback now in all of football? That's next.
No mercy, no mercy.